My mom and I went to Target, as all good Minnesotans do, 3 to 5 times a week, on the day after Christmas, and as I dug through the piles of clearance ornaments, not sure why, my family stopped putting up a Christmas tree taller than 12 inches after we got cats, I spotted this beautiful specimen of pure, unadulterated dope. I shall call her Aquado, and she shall accompany me in my stuffed goat videos in hopes that one day my similarly colored Cervidae senpai will notice me. On that note, I've got something to say about the recent Watts family murders that will probably ruffle some feathers and probably make me look like an absolute cunt. I won't go into the situation as a whole, but I will link to a video by Stephanie Harlowe that covers the story in depth. Here's a snippet of said video that highlights my issue with how this case has been presented.
Pointlessly. At the time of her death, Shanann was working for a company called Lavelle. Lavelle's best known for their health and wellness kind of supplements and shakes and things, and those are called Thrive. So you probably have heard of it, or you probably know somebody who sells it, or you know somebody who's tried to get you to sell it. It's pretty common and pretty big out there. I know at least 2 or 3 people in the past couple of years have approached me trying to get me interested in it, but I was a big shake allergy girl, so I wasn't interested. Lavelle is what they call an MLM, or a multi-level marketing company. If it makes it easier, we can call it a pyramid scheme, and that's pretty much what it is. And it's not necessarily a scheme, because I know people do make money off of it. I know people are very successful in it. Shanann was allegedly one of them, but just imagine, you know, a pyramid, and one person is here at the top. And then they have their downline, right? So the people that they bring on to also sell and push and advertise and market this product, the people underneath them on their downline, that person at the top of the pyramid is going to get a percentage of their sales. I know people can be successful in an MLM, but it's usually that top of the pyramid person, and so not everybody is going to be, but it's possible. I spent a little bit of time talking about that because Lavelle and Thrive were an important part of Shanann's life. She used to work in HR in like a children's hospital, and then obviously, you know, she had the girls and she became a full-time stay-at-home mom, and I think she wanted something else to do besides just being a stay-at-home mom. Not that being a stay-at-home mom is A, easy, or B, insignificant, because it is neither of those things, but as somebody who does stay at home with my little girl, you know, the majority of the time, it can become kind of mundane, and you need something to get you out there talking to people. You need something to spark your creativity, hence, for me, YouTube, but you need something else to kind of define yourself as something other than somebody's mother. It's not a bad thing. It doesn't make her a bad mother. It doesn't make her negligent. It doesn't make her selfish. It just makes her human. See, we never judge men for wanting to be something other than fathers. But when a woman wants to do something outside of the house, or wants to do something part-time to like increase her income, or to just use the skills that she has and she has to offer to the world, people can get kind of judgy. So on August...
No, Stephanie, no. I love your Mystery Mondays videos and your insight into these stories, but you are so far off base here. The judginess comes from the MLMs and their recruiters. You said you've had people try to recruit you for MLMs. In response to a comment I made on your video, you said you sold Cutco for a while. You must have heard the "don't you want to be a good mom and be there for your kids" bullshit. You must have witnessed the parent shaming that goes on in those communities. The MLMs and their victims are the ones judging mothers for choosing to have a career. The negative light that's falling on Shanann is due to the fact that she was in a cult. MLMs are cults. Flat out, it's just the way it is. Drew of Genetically Modified Skeptic made a video that explains why MLMs are considered by some to be cults by running through the bite model of control. MLMs ruin lives.
Shanann was going places with Lavelle and Thrive. She was very successful. She was doing really well. She was clearly enjoying it. She'd found her groove. She'd found her...
Here's a clipping from my mom's educational journal of choice, the National Enquirer, that echoes this sentiment. I can guarantee you with 99.6% certainty that Shanann was not contributing to the household finances and was actually detracting from them. The Wattses are $400,000 in debt, and I'll go out on a limb here and say that the cult Shanann was in played a considerable part in that. MLMs employ a fake it till you make it ideology. Shanann may have appeared successful in public and on social media, but there is a 99.6% chance that she was bullshitting the whole thing.
All the messiness that a divorce would entail. I think he wanted to make whatever was easiest on him happen.
Do not misconstrue this, but I think that might have been exactly what Chris was thinking when he killed Shanann. His wife was in a cult, and it was destroying the family's finances. He probably tried to save her and his family from it, but it just didn't work. MLMs tell their victims to cut out all the haters from their lives, to get rid of all that negativity. They force their victims to blind themselves to anyone who isn't 100% on the indoctrination train. I am not, in any capacity, saying that Chris Watts did the right thing. What he did was tragic and horrendous and should never have happened. But when I look at Chris Watts and what he did, I see a desperate man who just didn't know what to do. He couldn't convince his wife to leave the cult she was in. The cult was directly and profoundly affecting his life and the life of his family. To him, removing Shanann from the picture may have been the best option, or the last option. A divorce would have cost money that neither of them had. Women almost always win custody battles. Shanann was in no position to support 3 children on her own financially. In this clusterfuck of a situation, the idea of just burning everything down and starting from scratch may have seemed like the best option for a desperate man who didn't see any other way out. One last comment.
That's not what a marriage is. A marriage doesn't always work. A marriage doesn't always feel like it's working. A marriage isn't always getting along or agreeing, but you make it work. You don't just find something that works.
Stephanie, I am a 22-year-old girl who has never been in a relationship, and even I know that you should never force a relationship. If 2 people aren't happy together and can't work things out, they shouldn't force themselves to be miserable together. Even worse is forcing a relationship for the kids. Imagine being that kid, knowing that your parents are miserable together and that you're the reason they're staying that way. That is such a shitty thing to do to a child. So, do you folks think I'm an absolute cunt yet? I mean, I just expressed empathy towards a guy who killed his wife and kids. Isn't that grand? In all seriousness, MLMs freak me the fuck out. They're cults, hundreds of them, and they just get to exist out in the open. And they keep multiplying. They are fucking terrifying. Anywho, you know the drill. Your favorite plush ungulate sucks at doing outros, so adios, muchachos.